Hello, I am Rogue Link, and this is Minit, any percent normal mode. So one thing I do like to say before the start of all my runs is there's two buttons in this game. There's use your current item and reset. Reset actually instantly kills you and takes you back to your previous checkpoint. So we're going to be using that a lot, and we're going to be using that very quickly. So when you suddenly see me warp backwards, that's what's happening. So again, this is normal any percent. Let's go. So this sword right here is basically what the story is based around. It's a cursed sword that we're trying to get rid of. And as you can see, right out of the gate, we're going to pick up the sword and then reset, because the path to this watering can is actually just a little bit faster from that checkpoint. Next up, we're going to be skipping a pickup called the flashlight. Needed a bit of an audio cue in there. The flashlight allows us to see in the dark, but we're able to skip it in a decent number of categories. At the very least, wait until more optimal moments to get it in more 100% categories. We're going to be getting this checkpoint here, and then heading deep into the desert to get a special item. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By going between those two screens, we actually trick the game into thinking we're much further in the desert than we actually are. Killing this ghost gets us the sword thrower. We're able to use that in order to have a ranged attack with our sword. But one more thing we need to do before we leave the desert is grab this watering can and save our friend right here by feeding them some water. And there we go. So now that we've saved them, we actually open up this path, and that allows us to pick up this gardening glove. Gardening glove is another very important item and allows us to cut tree stumps like this one right here. Now we're going to be hitting the original checkpoint again, so now we'll be respawning here, and using the sword thrower in order to optimally kill all of these crabs. We have to kill 5 crabs in order to get the coffee, which is another key item that we'll be picking up momentarily. There we go, pretty good hits. And here it is, we got the coffee. Now this is going to allow us to push boxes, which is actually a key mechanic we're going to need to collect some characters coming up here soon. So this next segment is the hotel. So we're going to be going into this hotel right here. Again, setting our checkpoint. And then heading over to the left to a very special guest that we can't actually talk to until the timer is at 10 seconds or less. And the whole objective of this little section is we need to collect all of the hotel guests so that the owner of the establishment can open up the pool, which gives us access to the flippers, which are another key item. Here we're trying to pixel perfect push that man on top of his credit card. And coming up here is a minor glitch where we're able to save a couple sword swings by breaking that really far away and then being able to talk to our friend in a tree. Next up, another dark section. Going with a slightly safer setup there. There's a few risky setups that are a little less marathon safe, but there are definitely ways to make it a little bit easier for us. Once we open the bridge, talking to that friend, and the last guest is under this box here, which drops the ladder and lets us get these flippers. There's a few sections that require swimming coming up, which is why the flippers are something we have to get for any percent. There's a lot of items that we're actually skipping out on, and any percent's actually pretty well routed and optimized. So we only get exactly what we need. Now here we're trying to push both boxes for as long as possible, trying to not push them against the wall. And our objective here is to break that grinder that you can see smoking right now. So there's one box left. And here, since we go off at in-game time, we're going to reset. Or we're going to kill ourselves as soon as the box hits the conveyor belt. Next up, we're going to head back through this room. Now, this is one of the longer runs of the game. We have a few objectives. First, we need to turn off the second conveyor belt by hitting all these switches. Being very careful not to run into the walls or miss these switches, since everything's moving around at a fairly quick pace. Then we're going to be running around here and destroying this generator, which allows us access to this lower section. Throwing our sword into the gear and then taking another reset to get back to the hotel. Now this is a very interesting portion of the game. Your sword is stuck in that gear. So you have to figure out a way to get back there to put out the fire without your sword. So it forces you to have the watering can. And it's a very interesting puzzle that you need to solve casually to manage to get back to where you were without breaking anything. Heading down this way, making sure to not hit the gear because we only have 1 health left. And now that all of the conveyor belts are stopped or reversed, we can break the machine, and this is going to start the final boss. Very careful to break this. We're currently running on speedrun mode, which prevents us from resetting manually on this boss. So we need to take a death manually by taking damage instead of just resetting. Here, the sword that turns on is always the furthest away, so you can kind of predict which one is going to show up. And that allows us to kind of get into position before the game actually reveals which one it is. Missed that one, unfortunately. And that's 1, and that's 2. Again, we kind of want to take a death here so that we can get right into it. Now this boss is actually fairly straightforward. We're going to be prepping our sword throw and using it in one of 2 situations. We're going to use it in order to destroy the swords that are coming our direction. And when the big spinning swords stop, we can finally damage them, like so. Only 1 more left. There we go, perfect! And that's time. And now that we've defeated the boss, broken our sword, the evil fiend gets destroyed, and we send the sword out to sea. And we go off of in-game time in this. We got 17:22 with 15 resets, so pretty good overall. And thanks for watching. That was Minit, Normal, any %.